Hey everybody, welcome to EFP Live. We're going to be doing a little review here of the situation going on with Wizards of the Coast. I am fucking salty. I have my combo breaker salty thing that I can squeeze because this is fucking bullshit. I am so tired of Wizards of the Coast getting to do whatever they want and everyone just bending over and taking it like a prison scene. So, let's talk about the biggest mistake that Wizards of the Coast has done. I'll take us off this. I'll get us some different music. I don't want us to be angry the entire time. The red is going. The house is burning. D&D put out the Player's Handbook for 2024. And there are a lot of excited people. And they should be excited. It has been 10 years since they've gotten ratified rules and eroded stuff for their favorite game. Now, granted, I love D&D. As like the idea and concept of what it's made and what it's brought to the industry, how people are able to have a living now in tabletop, which no one ever would have thought that would have been a possibility. But content creating around this has been shady and dangerous since day one, because you never knew when you were going to get slapped in the face with a strike on YouTube. Specifically YouTube, not so much on Twitch. And that's what happened. So let me give you a little bit of precursor before we go through the people who have been boned by this. And I will say this up front. Wizards of the Coast is fixing it. They're fixing it. But it's not enough because they make these large mistakes as a corporate entity that's worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. Billions if you include Hasbro. And they keep doing this shit. So it's time to bitch and talk about it. Oh, so fucking salty about this. So salty. All right, let's hit up Classified. This is Dungeon Craft. He does a great side-by-side review of Shadowdark and the lovely D&D 2024 edition. I'll link it down below. And I have Classified up to talk about the things that have happened. He put this really well by having this up because this is what it feels like. First off, a lot of these content creators got access to a PDF back in May. You know, you could have signed up for it and said yes, but you had to sign the NDA and you couldn't talk about it. Some people turned this down because if they couldn't do coverage for it, it wasn't worth the time. For example, I know Sly Flourish in his video talked about how he wasn't going to be looking over the NDA PDF. This is important. D&D doesn't make PDFs. So this is one of the first times we've seen PDFs, but they're not a PDF for consumers. They're a PDF for content creators to look through them, to be able to review them and get ready and talk about them, but you couldn't fucking show anything. Fast forward 2 Sundays before Gen Con, hard copies start going out to content creators. I obviously didn't get one. I'm not, 1, big enough, and 2, we all know what I'm gonna do. Now, we all have friends that work in the industry at Wizards of the Coast. I want to preface every shade I'm about to throw and say this is not towards them. This is not towards the people crafting what we play. This is specifically towards decision makers that keep making horribly bad decisions that just rain salt all over the parade. So Sunday they get these, they start looking over them. Many content creators start recording pieces to put out their 2024 PHB reviews. At Gen Con, they sold event tickets where you could go and pick up a copy of the book early. Now, I want to say there's between 80 to 90,000 people at Gen Con this year. It's the 50th anniversary for Dungeons and Dragons. But they only give out like, I don't know, 700 something a day. So like 3,000 people got it. Do the math. It's a very small percentage of people who have it. But the point is, that means it officially released at Gen Con. So all the NDAs and the street dates get lifted for content creators to make their content to put out. And that takes us to all these wonderful people who are making things. And then the drama llama ensues. ENWORLD put some great coverage up. I'll put that down below as well. D&D 2024 Handbook Video Reactions and Takedowns. When this came out, a whole bunch of well-known content creators started getting hit with takedowns and strikes for the content they made for Player's Handbook 2024. And I will say a lot of these content creators have been very nice about it, and it is a true statement. The content creators, if they want to be viable within the tabletop industry, and especially in RPGs, and want to be able to make money on their content and get the views to drive traffic, to grow their audience and grow the people who enjoy what they do, you have to cover D&D. You just do. If I never had to cover it, I wouldn't. I actually don't like drama. I maybe enjoy being angry, though, for those who know me. And this is nuts. They started making people take down their videos, and I think the very first thing we saw was with this gentleman here. You got a copyright removal request in the video based on applicable copyright law. We removed your video from YouTube. I would like to say they went back, the strikes have been taken down. I want you all to know that. But you're going, why? Why did he get hit with strikes? This doesn't make a modicum of sense. Well, he got hit with strikes because they were worried about people taking photos of still images of the video, flipping through the book, and making their own D&D 2024 Player's Handbook. I just want that to sink in. Someone's gonna take screenshots of all this, compile it into a PDF document, so they could have theirs 6 weeks early at the recording of this video. If someone wants to do that, there are easier ways. They could have went on eBay and bought a $100 version of the book from someone who got it at Gen Con, tore it apart, scanned it, and had real good copies, all the way down to searchable. And if somebody wants to do that because they're so excited about seeing the Wizards of the Coast product, why in the shit are you hitting people with copyright strikes? So it gets better. Not only top of that, Sly Flourish posted a walkthrough of his Player's Handbook, and the gentleman set up a top-down camera so people could see it. He did like a real walkthrough, flip through, because he was excited and wanted all of you to be excited as well. What did they do? They made him blur his video. On his video, which I'll also link down below, he talks about the percentages for single page and double page because he got an email. And I will again say they gave him a second email afterwards saying, hey, we understand that we didn't tell you you couldn't shoot or record these pieces or include them in your content, but they did it after everyone's stuff went out. Why? Why? Because they forgot. They forgot to send out an email that told these content creators what they could or couldn't do. This is free fucking publicity, Wizards of the Coast. You don't pay a fucking dime other than giving them the books that you're printing to look at your shit. And now you should have just ate it and said, no, we're not. Fuck it. We fucked up. We didn't send it out. We're fucked. Let's change our game plan. But instead of doing that, they started copyright striking everybody. I don't give a shit if they do take them away. You look like villains. Shave your head, Lex Luthor. Let's go. Because that's all they're doing. They look like a villain every time they open their mouth. And I know this comes from the hierarchy on down. I don't understand. Why when the book is already out at Gen Con and people can look at it, are you so worried about people making their own PDFs? There's an easy solution to this. And I know other content creators have had this. And I have a strong opinion on this. Shit, you all know how I feel about PDFs. D&D, take all of your old library and put it up on whatever your new DM's Guild's going to be. And let people have access to the old edition of Dungeons & Dragons. And then when this one releases, put out the PDF for fuck's sake. Everyone wants a PDF for quick perusal. Physical copies are great if I'm going to run a game. Hyperlink your book and put it out as a PDF. You already have it. It wouldn't take you but minutes to do. While print versions are slightly different than PDF, it's not hard when you're a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar company with Hasbro to just put out the PDF. All this piracy bullshit that you're worried about, you would sell more, but you're not going to do it because you want everyone to get D&D Beyond. And your VTT. That you have people run a live show with Gen Con, and now you're saying that you're all in on digital. and that you will be making tons of digital products for the D&D brand, but the people who are covering you digitally, you're fucking. And if this was like the one mistake they made, that would be fine. But they have been making countless mistakes since the OGL debacle, just over and over and over and over and over again. It is such a broken record. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what their prices are going to be for their VTT. They haven't talked about it openly to what I'm allowed to say. But you can't just burn these people. So as you scroll through, you can see he got hit. Obviously, D&D Shorts. This guy makes amazing pieces. They hit him as well. I know, as far as I know, the only person that got a strike was the first one. And again, it was taken away. It doesn't fucking matter that it went away. What matters is that you guys keep doing this. This is free. Any company in the world, as Instructo Boy said, they would kill to have this publicity. Any other company. And he is 1,000% right. Anyone else. If Goodman Games over the new X-Crawl could get this kind of publicity, they would eat it up. But no. They're worried about someone scanning them pages. Scanning them. Just like at the event, you weren't allowed to take pictures of things behind this closed door, but you could live tweet. I worked in video games for a long time. When I was at E3, and back when it was press only at E3, not even open to the public, we would go to these symposium pieces where it was a huge stage production where we'd see the new games behind the scenes, and there were some things we were allowed to say and other things we weren't. But D&D is different than a video game. It is a physical product with art, rules, and layout. I mean, the core books aren't even about story, right? PHP is not about story. It's about making your characters and how you play the game from a player's perspective. So we need to see the product, and I have been harping on this since July. They just talked about all their classes, but never let us see what it was. Someone in one of my comments said, hey, you can see some of the mechanics now. So they put it out later. And now that people are covering and putting out mechanics, that's not okay, because someone will steal their product. Well, I hate to tell you this, Wizards, but because you did this, you know people are going to set sails and pirate the shit out of whatever you put out. Because you went and made the audience angry again. Do the right thing. Treat your content creators and your fans, because your content creators were fans. Some still are. Treat them like they're family. Stop treating them like they're prisoners. Stop treating them like they're trying to rob you. If 500 people make a PDF out of it, out of that 500, if your stuff is good and you were to put out a PDF to buy, it was hyperlinked, they would buy it. Just like they're probably going to buy your book. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a hold of the book, and I'm going to cut the bitch apart. I'm going to splice the spine. I'm going to compare it to the old one, the one I had that broke after 2 months. I'm going to compare the pages and how they handle just oil on your hands and see how well they smudge. I'm going to compare some of the classes, and I'm going to cut it apart and treat it like it should be. Dissected like a fucking science experiment. That's it for me. I'm sorry to all you content creators that got burned by this. You deserve better. Thank you for all the ones that have given in-depth coverage. Check out Ian's World stuff on this if you want to know more. And I'll keep following this. I know they fixed one problem, but the question is, when's the next one? What are they going to stub their toe on next? Be better. You are supposed to be the inspiration for the industry, not the class clown.